Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm more so taking a look at the market from the perspective of observation right now. And since we've broken some key levels, it's safe to say that we're much more bullish than we were bearish yesterday. So over the past few weeks, we've unraveled some amazing data and we've seen some indicators start becoming very bullish. So my bias has fairly shifted to a bullish momentum now. So because of this, yesterday I added 160,000 back to my long-term portfolio hold, and throughout, depending on the circumstances and what Bitcoin does, I'm going to get it back over to the 7 figures that it was originally at. Risk factors were really low, so I'm in a comfortable buying mood despite if it's the bottom or not. If it's not the bottom, at least I made the right choice to buy for a long-term portfolio at especially these risk levels. It was the best decision to make. So now it's going to be a matter of deciding what's going to happen next and when am I going to add more. So the 3-day chandelier exit indicator is one of the best charts to use right now ever since the bull market began back in 2020 all the way up to 2021. And the reason why the 3-day chandelier exit indicator is such a hot indicator to use is because it was the main one that ended up holding throughout the entire duration of finding the bottom in 2020 and rallying to the top here in 2021 of November. So because it was the main indicator, we see that ever since the bear market began, it was the main indicator that never broke one time. Originally, I thought that the 2-day indicator was going to be the main one that held, but we unfortunately smashed above it. Now, it would only be logical to assume that the chandelier exit indicator on the 3-day chart is going to be the primary one now, since it never broke above it before, but we've actually broken above it, which means that we're most likely incredibly bullish right now if we broke through it for the first time. But just because we broke through it for the first time, it doesn't mean that we're incredibly bullish. We need to close above there and find new ground above 21,300, which is the next major resistance that we see. If we take a look at the weekly chart right now, we're going to see that we're starting to trend very bullishly. We're seeing that some key major regions are breaking above the RSI range. If we take a look at this as sort of an RSI resistance, we're breaking above it. We never broke above some key ranges before, like around the 40 RSI, but as you can see, we're smashing to the upside right now, and a lot of RSI is getting well over the 80 ranges. In fact, this RSI right now on the daily is starting to reach 86. Now, I'm just going to present to you the proof in the pudding so you can judge for yourself if we're bullish or not. So the last time that we hit the all-time high was in November of 2021. So as you can see, based off of the daily chart, we're actually in the highest RSI for the daily that we've ever been in, ever since the bull market reached a local top all the way back in 2021. Now, if we go to a 2-week chart as well, so we see that Bitcoin has made some gigantic moves. Every time Bitcoin ends up crossing over from low on the negative side of the MACD. So we're taking a look down over here. You see this? It's really on the low negative side. And right now, we see that the MACD is crossing over to the positive side on the 2-week for the first time in a long time. In fact, this is only the 3rd time that this has ever happened. And let's take a look at the other 2 times that it's happened. The first time that it happened was in 2015, right after the bear market year of 2014. And in this 2015 year, started the peak and the rally right here. It ended up reaching a high of $19,700 where it started to rally for literally 900 days, where it finished off at a peak of 6,700% rally. That's what happened when the first MACD crossed over from the negative side. Now that we take a look at the second one, we can reach a very similar conclusion as well. The 2-week MACD goes to the bottom side and it crosses up and it actually never gets back down again until the bear market last year. But what happened between the last time we got the MACD on the negative low side and when it crossed over and started going up again is important. So we see that this is where it crossed over the first time, and around here was the all-time high in November. And this was also the first one over here where we did the first top, and this one got the double top. So we can see that based on that rally, the second MACD crossover ended up doing a 2,020% rally. So I'm not trying to say that we're incredibly bullish right now and we're going to start a major trend to the upside. It's not like that at all. But what I can say is that based off of these two trends that we see, it's a possibility that a bottom may have been reached. If we take a look at the second 2-week MACD crossover, okay, we did cross over right here. That was the second one. But what you'll notice is we rallied about 300%, but then we ended up dipping about 72% before we started rallying to the high side to make that November all-time high again. So this is a good indication of what has happened in the past before, and using past data, it can give us an accurate representation of possibly what could happen again. So this is going to raise that question of, hey, is it possible for us to start doing some massive bull runs right now, or perhaps we actually have reached the bottom already? When we take a look at many factors that can tell us it's the bottom, one possible one is that the bear markets have always averaged between 350 to 400 days. And the bear market is defined by when we reached an all-time high to when we reached the bottom. And we've actually exceeded those averages from 2014 and also 2018 when we reached these bottoms. So now that we're over the average of how long it takes to reach the bottom, there's usually an accumulation period of about 250 to 300 days. So I firmly believe that the month of January is going to be green now, just based on what we see. Of course, I could always be wrong and we can see a major shift to the downside, but it seems more likely that we're in the middle of the month already. Bitcoin has rallied a tremendous amount of almost 20%, that we're going to continue this momentum or at least close green for this month. And it also seems like we're going to close bullish for the year as well, just based off of how the momentum is going. And I firmly believe that we're going to have more green months this year than we're going to have red months. Leading up to the halving is going to be a great year of accumulation. I just firmly believe that this year is going to be a great year to trade. It may have lots of sideways and choppy movements as well, but it's certainly going to be much better than the bear market last year, where we literally only had 4 green months out of the 12, where 8 months were very bearish. You don't want to trade in those types of conditions where it's really bearish. It's really difficult to make money. There's not a lot of rallies. You generally make more in a bull market than a bear market, because in a bear market, it's impossible to make more than 100% if you shorted from the top to the bottom. But in a bull market, you're going to see tons of coins that are going to rally thousands and thousands of percent. You don't need to catch all of the percentages. You just need to catch some of it to make a good profit. And those are some of my focuses in a bull market. Now, another thing that I really wanted to point out that was interesting on Bitcoin that I saw was this right here. So the first time that I saw this has been a long time. So I saw basically this pattern over here on a 3-day. I saw 3 white soldiers. 3 white soldiers are basically 3 small bullish candles that forms just like this. And what happens afterwards is we get a gigantic spike to the upside following these 3 candles. So we're seeing a lot of pressure going to the upside by the bulls, and that's why I'm incredibly happy to have added to my portfolio again for the long term. And I think it's going to be one of the best years that we're going to have in the next bull market that's coming. And I hope that a lot of you are studying already for this bull market. If you're not studying already, by the time that this bull market comes, you're going to regret not preparing and not studying ahead of time. It's always important to do the work before you get to the main event. It's impossible to get to the bull market and expect to do well if you're not prepared already. You should know exactly what strategies you're going to use, because you can't just go into the bull market thinking that you can catch everything. You go into the bull market already prepared, knowing exactly which strategies you're going to use and which types of setups you're going to focus on. You can't just choose every single trade. It's impossible. I've already developed a set of strategies in my ultimate bull market strategy guide. And in this guide, it's one of the best ones that I'm going to release. It's going to be released in about 3 weeks, and it's going to go over every single phase of trading in a bull market. First of all, we're going to go over the conditions for a bull market. We're going to talk about the macroeconomic conditions that's going to set us up for a good bull market. And then we're going to talk about how to efficiently find a coin to trade. So this is going to tell you what you need to do step by step on how to scan the market under 15 minutes, and then what you do with that data and how to pick the coin to trade. Because a lot of the times it's difficult to pick out of 30 coins that are moving, which one do I pick? And then now that you know how to pick a coin, we're going to teach you the advanced indicator masterclass. So we're going to go over each of these indicators that I use on a very advanced way. So it's going to leave out a lot of the things you don't need to know. And I'm only going to teach you exactly what you need to know. This course will be roughly 29 hours. It's going to be the best course that anybody could take that's going to contribute to their possible overall success in the next bull market. And then chapter 5, now that you've learned how to find a coin to trade, you know all about the advanced indicators. It's going to talk about how to enter a trade. How do you identify technically a bull market? How to trade each of these phases. So it's going to go over all of the criterias with the checklist and every single possible formation that I'm going to specifically focus on. There's going to be tons and tons of different types of trades to take, but I'm only going to focus on the ones that I know has a high probability. So now that you've learned how to pick the coin to trade, and you also learn all about the indicators on an advanced masterclass level, and you know how to enter the trade with precision, we're now going to go over the next phase, which is where a lot of traders end up struggling and making mistakes, and this is where traders generally lose money. It's during the trade and how to manage it. A lot of emotions will be caught up in the trade. It's going to factor into your decision of staying in the trade or not, and a lot of the times people just can't handle being in the game. And I'm going to show you how to have skin in the game. I'm going to show you how to set trailing stops, reevaluating your risk to reward, talking about exiting the trade with chandelier exit indicators on multiple time frames, when to add, when to shed. So now that you know how to pick the coin to trade, you know all about the advanced indicator masterclass, you know all about how to enter the trade with position, you know how to manage your trade. The next important part in the bull market strategy guide is knowing how to exit the trade with precision. How are you going to identify trend changes? What are some of the reasons that you need to exit this trade? Why should you take profit? What are some of the signs why you should get out? The ultimate bull market strategy guide, it focused specifically on the bull market, not the bear market. And then chapter 8, we're going to have a bunch of live trades, and then chapter 9 will be a summary. So this is going to come out in about 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to take me about 300 hours total to complete this course. I'm more than halfway done it right now as well. And it's going to sell for $549 to the first 100 members only that pick it up. And then after that, it goes back up to $899. So if you'd like to get on the wait list, I highly encourage you to DM me, because I'm so confident in this work of mine after 8 years of being in the market. I know for a fact that this bull market ultimate strategy guide, it's only going to contribute to your success and add to your skills when this bull market comes. So right now, just to summarize Bitcoin, we look like we're about to head up to $21,300. We have broken out of every single chandelier exit and EMA that I've seen as well. I use the 200 EMA, not the 200 smooth moving average, and we see that we're about to approach right here, which is the 200 EMA, which is right by the next set of resistance right here. So there's no reason why this needs to slow down. We have seen one of the most bullish momentums that we've ever seen. This is a parabolic move to the upside. And if this is not something significant, I don't know what that is, because we have gone up to the sky. My wife has told me, Phil, we should probably wait a little bit longer to enter a trade after like February or so. And I said to her this. I said to her that the risk is really low. It's a great time to be buying, because if it did start the bull market, then we would be in an opportune time. But if for some reason it's not the bull market beginning and this is not the low yet, then we're still in a great position and we can have more cash to add to our positions on a dip. But the last thing I want to be is not in a position. It's important to me to be in a position. I don't care about catching the bottom, and that's not likely to happen, which I acknowledge and I firmly understand. So to me, being in the position is a lot more important than catching the bottom, because I don't want to have that fear of missing out, and I can always add more to my portfolio long term on strength or on a dip. Based off of the daily RSI reaching the highest that we've ever reached since the November 2021 all-time high, the parabolic rally, the chandelier exit indicator 3-day finally breaking above it. We still need to get to some significant numbers above 21.3 thousand to see a larger degree of a bull run. So I'm going to leave you guys with this thought for now, and I'm going to leave the question, are we bullish? Leave your thoughts and your comments below, and I want to see how many of you are starting to be really bullish based off of the current trend that we see now, which is one of the biggest bullish trends that we've seen, moving over 20% this year already. So anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. Send me a DM if you would like to be on the wait list for the masterclass course, and take a look at the link below where you're going to get all the information to the syllabus and the pricing for it and when it's going to be released. I look forward to seeing a lot of you and my students, and I hope that you're having a great 2023 year compared to the last year. And make sure you're liking the content, make sure you're subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification if you haven't already, especially if you like the channel. Bye now and have yourself a great night. Take care.